Well, been a long time again. Why? Because I'm all messed up. Mentally, physically, whole no deal. Brain don't work, body don't work, so sometimes it takes longer than others to get back on track again. Anyway, just the time that I haven't been uploading anything, just been reading a lot, watching a lot of YouTubes, and it seems that people are still walking on eggshells in their lives, afraid to say or express how they truly feel. So I thought it would be worthwhile to make a quick video just to say, if you feel the way you feel that way, and that's it. I mean, it's silly to have to say that in this day and age when you consider that people run around with all kinds of horrible ideals and aren't afraid to express them. Look at any number of these protests that go on almost every weekend like clockwork, openly calling for the death of Jewish people, not just locally in their neighborhood, but everywhere around the world. If you see a Jewish person, exterminate them is their not even subtle message to the masses. And they do this right in front of law enforcement. Law enforcement, by the way, that brings these same so-called protesters Timbits and coffee. But if you sit there and go, it would be nice if people that came to Canada illegally or otherwise, however, it's usually the illegal ones, it'd be nice if maybe they gave an effort to just try and assimilate to Canada's cultures and laws and way of life. Boom, everyone comes down on someone like that like a ton of bricks. So then those people, they kind of get discouraged and deflated, and they kind of keep their lips shut and they don't say anything, and that's not right. If you can have a group of people, a bunch of these sand naggers, like I said, you put the two and two together, I've said this before, you have a segment of the population that immigrated here largely illegally, who lived in sandboxes all their lives, so sand people, who are also very annoying. They nag constantly. They're nagging constantly, like all these so-called protests that they have, especially in Ontario, where they're constantly calling for the death of Jews. They're nag. And for South Park fans out there will know, people who annoy you are naggers. So put the two together and you get sand naggers. So if it's okay for these sand naggers to not only spew their vile hate-filled garbage week after week in front of police officers who bring them Tim Hortons coffee and Timbits, then it should be okay for a Canadian, whether or not they were born here, because there are lots of immigrants that come to Canada that come here because they want to come here. They come here because they want to be here. They come here because they understand the way of life in Canada is great, and if they bring their garbage conflicts from their homeland here, then Canada ain't going to be so great for very long. They get that. Now, you should be able, if you're one of those people, to stand up and just say, why don't people who come to Canada assimilate, or even at least try? Wear the clothes, talk the talk, get involved in the culture. I'm not saying you have to change everything and drop everything. That's not what I'm saying. But if you make a big move to go to another country, then leave the rest of your crap behind. Leave these stupid blood feuds behind. oh, well, I'm a Muslim, you're a Muslim, but you're not the right type of Muslim. So therefore, I hate you and your family without knowing anything about you. And I'm going to spend my entire life, is my goal and mission, is to see that you or your family never breathe another breath of air. No, leave that crap behind. If you want to pursue that, go back to wherever it was you came from. All right? If you're going to come to Canada, you shed that crap. You get rid of it. There's no room for it here. Canada wouldn't exist if we all thought like that. Canada wouldn't have even had a chance to get going if we had brought all of that garbage with us. People came here originally to the New World to get away from that kind of garbage because they just wanted to live their lives and be left alone. All right? But when you bring all this deep-seated, multi-generational crap with you and you just perpetuate it when you come here, it doesn't matter what country you go to, no matter how good it is, no matter how great it is, you are going to destroy it and you are going to turn it into this same steaming shat hole that you left, that you fled from. You bring that crap here. So don't do it. Leave it behind or go back to it if you love it so much. If your shat hole country was so great, why'd you leave in the first place? I mean, this same thing in the United States. Everybody, oh, the United States sucks. It's this, it's that, it's so horrible, blah, blah. Then leave. Go. I love Canada. You hear me badmouth the government, not Canada. Not its people. It's the government. The government that we've had, the Trudeau-Carney government that we've had for the last 10 plus years is probably one of the worst governments in all of human history. And I say that because they're an absolute draconian, brutal dictatorship that operates out in the open and nobody even sees it. And that's what makes them such a brutal regime. Nobody calls them on it. They control, the government controls everything. The media, they control what people think, what they see, what they buy, what they like, what they eat, everything. Talk to anybody who comes from an oppressed country and they'll tell you that Canada's on a slippery slope to irredemption. Now, people will go, well, what are you? What are you talking? Why are you talking? You don't have any experience. You don't know what it's like. Their lived experience. Blah, blah, blah. Screw you if that's one of you. Take your head, shove it even further up your ass so you can tickle your tonsils with your own tongue. Why do I have authority to speak on this? Because my dad is an immigrant from Germany. My dad, my grandma, they came here. They risked their lives so many times coming here to Canada for a new life. It was not easy for them. They had to escape first. They had to escape the Nazis. Then once they escaped the Nazis, unfortunately, they got trapped behind when the Iron Curtain came down after the Allies settled the war. And when they divvied everything up, they got stuck in the eastern side of Berlin. And so after escaping the Nazis, they had to go back and do it all over again and escape the Soviets, who, by my dad's own account, were in many cases just as brutal, if not worse, than the Nazis in how they dealt with dissenters. But when they came here, my grandma made it clear, we're in another country. We respect their laws. They were nice enough to let us in when other countries had turned us away because we're German. Nobody wanted German immigrants after the war. They had their limits. They took a few here, there, but they closed their doors. And so it was tough for them to find somewhere to go. When they got here, my grandma said, you must respect the country. And my dad's pushed that through us kids' heads our entire lives growing up. You never, ever say anything bad about Canada. You respect the country because it's what gave us life. It's why we exist. It gives us hope. It gives us dreams. It gives us something to live for. And therefore, something to defend and fight for. So that's why I'm why I have authority to speak on these subjects when it comes to whether or not immigrants, legal or not, that come to Canada should assimilate. And yes, they should. When my dad was growing up at home, they ate traditional, a traditional German diet. They spoke in their native tongue. But when they were outside, everything changed. They were as Canadian as they possibly could be. And I see that to this day in my entire 50 plus years that I've been on this planet, in this country. I've seen it with my own eyes. Immigrants that have come to this country who want to be here. These are some of the most patriotic people that you'll ever meet. My dad, I always say, my dad, who was not born in this country, who was not Canadian, is the most patriotic person I know in my entire life. Bar none. And he's not even what people would say, well, he's not a real Canadian because he wasn't born here. Well, yeah, I mean, if you want to say a real Canadian is someone who was actually born here and follows the beliefs and cultures of the country, then sure, okay, he fits that. He's not. But him, my dad, and a lot of others that have immigrated here that weren't born here are more Canadian than a lot of people I know who were. Not once in their lives would they ever even dream of saying something nasty about Canada or disrespect it. They would never disrespect the flag. They would never burn it or say death to fill in the blank, whether it's Canada, United States, France, Germany, UK, whatever. They would not do that, especially to their own hometown or their new adopted country, home country. There's so many good people out there, so many good folks that immigrated to this country that gave up everything to come here for just a promise. Not a guarantee that they were going to be successful, just a promise that they'll be given the chance to build their own future. And a lot of them, man, this is what Canada runs on. People that come here and want to be part of this great country. So, if you come here and you want that promise, you want that opportunity to build a great life, then assimilate. Simple. Walk the walk, talk the talk, eat the food, wear the clothes. These are small things. And drop the goddamn BS from whatever shathole country you came from and all the internal conflicts that you are supposedly fleeing. If you're so afraid for your life and the life of your family that you have to flee and come to Canada and then bring all that crap with you, then you can go right the hell back home. Because obviously it wasn't that bad, right? If you were really truly afraid, then you wouldn't bring that garbage with you. You know, when my dad and my grandma came here, they didn't bring all that garbage with them. They didn't bring, they could easily be resentful toward the Allied forces because the Allied forces, the town that the hospital my dad was born in, they received intelligence reports that the Allies were coming to bomb this town within 24 hours. My grandma had just calved my dad. And so he was 20 hours old, something like that. Grabbed him and they fled. And wouldn't you know it, yeah, in less than a day later, the Allied forces, not only did they bomb that hospital, they bombed that entire town completely out of existence. It's not even there anymore. You can't even build on it because it's one of those areas in Europe, and there are a lot of them, where there were just so many ordnances dropped or bombarded with mortar fire that and artillery that are unexploded that they just can't get them all. They can never make these areas safe, so they basically cordon them off, and they're just no-go zones. You just don't go in them. This is one of those places. The town doesn't even exist anymore. So you could look at that and go, well, yeah, they have a reason to be resentful and to hate the Allied forces because of this. They were just innocent civilians caught in the middle, right? They didn't prescribe to any of Hitler's nonsense or any of the Nazi doctrine. They were just innocent civilians, and they lost everything. But they didn't bring that with them. They ditched all of that because they understood the bigger picture. They understood what was going on. They understood that in times of war, when you're facing such an existential threat as was the Nazis, that unfortunately you're going to have civilian casualties. It's a fact of life. People are going to die that shouldn't, but it's just the way it is. So they didn't bring any of that with them, like these friggin' idiots here with the whole thing in Palestine. You know, oh, boo-hoo, boo-hoo. They're terrorists. What do you expect? Oh, but they're just innocent people. Yeah, innocent people that voted for this government. Innocent people that when we're polled, something like 85, 86% were happy what happened on October 7th and would love to see it happen again. Okay? No. You don't get to do that, then come here, then cry about it. No. No. You rise up against your government. You fight back. Like people in France did, like people in Germany did. They fought back against this, and they deserve just as much accolade for defeating the Nazis in World War II as the Allied forces, because if it weren't for them fighting back, it's very doubtful that, well, the war wouldn't have been won as quickly as it was, let's just say that, and it drug on, right? So all of these people that are bitching and whining and complaining, get on a boat, go to the Middle East, strap on a vest, pick up a rifle, go put your money where your mouth is. Go help liberate those people. Set them free, if that's what you believe. Set them free. Fight alongside them, because there are good people in Palestine that are fighting, that are rising up, that are doing the right thing by their people and by their people that are supporting them. They're fighting back against the regime, against the Hamas, right? If you feel that strongly about it, then go help them. Go help them. Go help liberate them. Go help set them free. All these people talking about a resistance, here's your perfect opportunity. You have a perfect chance to go here and make a name for yourself. Simple as that. I'm sure if you got a bunch of you and your friends together and put a GoFundMe or GiveSendGo, I'm sure you could fund it in no time. Let me know. I will help you fund it. I'll show you even how optimistic we are in your efforts. We'll get you round-trip tickets even. Not one way. We'll get you round-trip tickets. You can go there. We can get you set up with the proper equipment you need. Get a couple weeks training. And you go and you liberate the good folks of Palestine. Set them free. Give them hope. All right? Fight alongside them. Fight alongside them against their oppressors. And no, their oppressors are not the Jewish people, you frickin' morons. It's the Hamas that are their oppressors. And all the morons that are the evil pieces of garbage that are funding them. That's what you need to fight against. So do that. Then come back here and you can say whatever you want. Pat yourself on the back. You can walk around with your balls out and say, yeah, I did that, man. I helped set those people free. That'd make you a man. That'd make you a woman, okay? But standing around here, refusing to accept that this is one of the greatest countries, government not so much, but the country itself, the foundation on which it was built, the people that keep it running, that built this country, that keep it moving forward. That's what makes this one of the greatest countries in the world, okay? If you don't believe that, then you need to pack up and go help these people that you say are being oppressed. If you truly believe that, then go do something about it. Don't flap your gums here, because you're sitting in the lap of luxury here in one of the greatest countries that's ever existed in history. So, once again, for all those people who have been feeling a little bit apprehensive about wanting to say things like, geez, I sure wish these people would show some appreciation for Canada, or I wish they would at least try to make an effort to assimilate into Canada's culture. You don't have to feel bad about that. And so say it. Be proud about that. It's not something that anybody should be ashamed of, to say, why do you not adhere to and follow Canadian culture and the Canadian way of life? If you came here, why do you not assimilate? Why? It's not, these are not bad things. This isn't hate speech. It's not istophobic or amblophobic or whatever the hell you want to say. It's none of that garbage. It's absolutely 100% valid. So, next time someone shoots their mouth off and says something negative about Canada or how it's so oppressive or blah, 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 and just simply say, well, okay, I've heard your opinion. Now, hear mine. I think that everybody that comes here to Canada should assimilate. That way we'll have everybody pulling in the same direction, instead of 1,000 people pulling in 1,000 different directions. If they lose their mind, then they're not even worth another breath. If they go, well, tell me more. Why do you think that? Because I think it's awfully racist. You should say that. Explain why it's not. Any of the points in this video work fine. Shut them right up. If not, like I said, they're not worth another breath of your time.